So this is the final part of our program. We thought it would be beneficial to at least hear from some current students and other professionals on how they build a network and what they do. So what I'm hoping is I'm going to ask a couple questions to kick it off, but I know that we're going to have some fantastic questions in the audience, so we can ask them for some Q&A. And again, the professionals that are up here are here to help. So I hope some of you will take them up on the opportunity to follow up and check in with them and plant them in your network, because they wouldn't be up here today if they weren't willing to help you, to help everybody out that's in here. So please help me welcome all of our panelists up. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We have 4 panelists. Mike, see you. Victor, thank you. All right, let's see. Hopefully we don't get static here. 2, 3, 4. All right. All right, well, grab a seat, guys. Thank you. All right. Well, panelists, thank you for joining us. So I think what would be most appropriate right now is you all go through just a very quick 30-second to minute overview of who you are, what you do, and what you're hoping to accomplish tonight.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ciara Hosty, and I'm from Oak Lawn. Along with my 3 brothers, I'm a proud graduate of St. Gerald's School, and upon graduation, I made the very wise decision of choosing to go to Mother Macaulay. As a current junior, I'm involved in student government, mathematics, soccer, and of course, the professional ABC program. In addition, I'm a member of the Ronald McDonald House Teen Advisory Council for the Advocate Children's Hospital near Oak Lawn. In the future, I hope to pursue a career in business, specifically in finance or accounting. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Excellent.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dylan Cooney. Some of you might remember me from last month. I gave the opening talk for that one. I graduated from St. Barnabas in 2018. I'm the oldest of 4 boys, and I live just down the street in Beverly. I'm currently a senior at St. Rita and also the president of the Advice Beyond the Classroom program there. And the reason that I'm in ABC is because I'd like to eventually own and operate my own business.
Very good.
It's hard to follow so many talented people. It's like I thought I had done something. Well, thank you, Nick, for the invitation. Hello, everybody. My name is Victor Placo, and I currently work at a firm called True Partners. It's a firm we started from the ground up about 16 years ago, and I got a couple of degrees from like 100 years ago, so you don't want to know about that. That's a long time ago. And I'm looking forward to engage with you in a conversation and hopefully share some stories that might be of use to you. But thank you for the invitation.
Well, thank you, Victor.
Hey, everyone. My name is Mike Zunica. I'm a proud resident and reigner of the south suburbs of Chicago. So a lot of Southsiders here. I'm a suburb guy. But I went to St. Rita, played football and baseball, graduated in 2012. I went on to play football and study business at the University of Kansas for 4 years. And now I am a resident of downtown Chicago, and I work for DWS Asset Management. I'm really excited to see so many open faces in here, and looking forward to answering some questions for you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you. That was excellent. So, Ciara, let's start, because we've got a lot of high school students in here. Let's start with you. What is the most challenging thing as a high school student to start building your network now?
Yeah, so I think the most challenging aspect of starting the network in high school is reaching beyond your personal network. So a lot of people find it challenging to go beyond their friends, go beyond maybe their parents' friends who are business professionals. Now, that's a great place to start, don't get me wrong. But like Sam said, getting involved is crucial. So for me, it was getting involved at the Ronald McDonald House. I've met so many people that are passionate about the same things as I am, and that has led me to meet so many people and make so many great connections.
Very good. No, and that makes sense because Dylan, you're kind of in the same boat here. What did you do? So you joined ABC as a freshman. When did you start to realize kind of the importance of networking and how to try and build it out?
So I would say I kind of realized that after my freshman year in the program. My first year in the program, I was kind of, super timid and, didn't really do a whole lot then beyond just, attending the classes in the morning. But, what I quickly realized was, Nick gives you all these great connections, but it's up to you to actually, follow up with them and go out and, try to learn new things. And I would just say the number one thing is, you definitely have to be persistent, because networking isn't a numbers game, and you have to understand that, not everybody's going to follow up with you, but with persistence, you will be able to, quickly and swiftly build up that network that you want, especially, when entering college.
No, it's great. Mike, we're going to shift down because you're kind of the next stepping stone here. Victor, I'm not calling you old. You're just seasoned. You're seasoned. Mike, so now you're a couple years out of college. You're obviously in a role at DWS where you need to act as a COI in a lot of ways. Could you talk a little bit about what you do now as you graduated Kansas and kind of how you're building out your network?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm about 4.5 years into my career post-college, and I will share with you guys, I'm extremely happy and proud to be at the company that I'm at. It's offered me great, financial freedom and great networking capabilities, and really the only reason I'm where I'm at right now is because of a St. Rita man named JJ Wilczewski, who took an interest in mentoring me while I was playing football at St. Rita. I was a good player for the high school that he was so proud to go to. And he started to introduce himself to me, and this kind of goes back to, taking care of relationships without expecting anything in return right away. I followed up with JJ. I sent him an email. I asked him for help with papers in class in college. I asked him for help, who I should be networking with outside of school and outside of football. And then when the time came, he could tell how invested I was in being successful and furthering my career, that he provided me the opportunity to join a company that he was one of the leaders at. So that just gets back to, just shaking someone's hand, introducing yourself, showing them a smile on your face, putting your phone down and walking up to somebody and, making a true, genuine connection. It'll pay off in the end. So you just got to have faith and confidence and, be yourself and put yourself out there.
No, I think that's great advice. And Victor, I want to shift to you because, Victor, I think where you can add real value on this panel, obviously, and I will tell everybody, I met Victor probably 2 years out of school in 2010, and he is one of the best, if not the original COI I've ever met. And so Victor really helped me in my career launch. So Victor, I want to ask you, because he brought up a good point about how he was seeking advice from JJ. Do you think that's a good practice? So if the students in the audience are trying to figure out, how do I get in front of somebody that's a level above me or a couple levels above me, is seeking advice from them a good doorway in? Kind of shows vulnerability where you can help them and you feel accountable for their career. What do you look for, part two of that question, in students that you're hiring into the company as well?
Thanks, Nick. Great question. Definitely. Most people want to help. In fact, I would argue that 99.9% of the people want to help. Sometimes they don't know how to do it. Sometimes they're waiting for somebody to ask. But I've met very few people, I cannot even remember one right now, who is not willing to help. Regardless of their level of success. Success is all relative. So definitely, if you're trying to connect with someone that is more seasoned, that probably you say, this person and I have very little in common, so why would they talk to me? Asking for help, asking for guidance. We've all had mentors, and you already have had mentors, your teachers, your parents. Those are mentors in your life and your personal network. Now that translates into your professional network, and this is where building those relationships is essential, and definitely seeking advice. You're not looking for anything. And I guess as humans, we grow older, we start realizing more parts of the journey. Part of the legacy, you start thinking about legacy and whatnot, and part of the journey is, how can I give back? How can I help others? There was this really interesting study that found out that when you give something non-monetary, especially if it is your time, your advice, or your life story, you actually engage emotions that you don't engage on a daily basis. So take my word for it for now. Maybe some of you have experienced that already, but it's amazing how well one feels when you give something back. And it doesn't have to be to somebody that is part of your life. It doesn't matter who it is. In fact, sometimes it given to strangers is one of the greatest gifts. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. So, Dylan, I want to follow up with that. You've, I know, done a fantastic job, and I actually kind of want you to tell that story of when you were on LinkedIn and the guy that was running the president's organization saw your title on ABC, and you ended up engaging with them and trying to network. Can you tell that story about how you're reaching out and how you're expanding with some real examples?
Yeah, so I mean, it felt pretty cool when I was kind of on the receiving end of kind of, requests. It's usually me reaching out to other people, asking if I can connect with them. But one day I looked on LinkedIn and I got this connection request from, this president of another company who runs this kind of organization that's a group of a bunch of different presidents from a number of different companies. And he reached out to me and he said he saw in my LinkedIn bio that I was president of the Advice Beyond the Classroom program. And he wanted me to maybe join his organization. So I sent it to Nick and I said, hey, Nick, this is super funny. Like, I think this guy kind of thinks like I'm the founder of Advice Beyond the Classroom. And he responded and said, no, Dylan, like, this is networking. What you're going to do is you're going to respond to him and, tell him, what exactly you do. Granted, I never got a response after that, but it was still a really
Hey, you're
cool,
honest. I like that.
It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, no, that's great. Well, I think that's the big thing is when you just put yourself out there, opportunities follow. So, Ciara, when you talk a little bit about, kind of the Ronald McDonald House, and it sounds like you've gotten involved philanthropically, and that's one of the avenues that we suggest on how you actually go start to build a network. Can you talk a little bit about how when you got into Ronald McDonald House, how you started to expand and meet people within it?
So,
There you go. It's on.
sure. So actually, I applied through a good friend of mine. She's actually a freshman in college right now, Lena Bryan. She also went to Macaulay. She's the one who introduced the ABC program to me. But we were on student government together my freshman year, and she started telling me about the Ronald McDonald House and the Teen Advisory Council, and it just sounded like such a great opportunity to meet people and also give back to the community. So moving forward, it's been a great way to kind of connect my networks, my personal network of St. Gerald Parish. We're actually going to be doing a collection soon. So it's just a great way to connect your networks and also continue to meet people.
Yeah, and I think that's interesting. And so, Victor, I'm going to roll over to you. What do you see in the young kids that you're hiring? Well, and maybe explain, A, what your firm does, who you're looking for, because we have a plethora of talent in here. So, you've got a farm system built in the audience. Talk about what you're looking for in a hire and what you guys do, and what are the extracurriculars that you see on their resume that jumps out at you? Is it nonprofit work? Is it hobbies? What stands out when you guys are hiring?
Sure, and True Partners, what we do is tax consulting. I know it sounds a little boring, but extremely technical. Our incoming class, they usually have accounting degrees, and they go straight into the CPA and masters and whatnot. But what we're looking for, believe it or not, we kind of focus a lot on the non-technical skills, because behavior is everything. I can teach anybody, and we can teach anybody to do the technical part. They already got the foundation from college, teaching you how to deal with a problem and how to think and whatnot. But the behavioral, the abilities to, again, be a team-oriented player, be a contributor, but also to have fun. This is important. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be some projects that are going to require overtime and it's going to require some sacrifices, and you won't be able to make it to that game or whatnot. But again, there is also the flexibility of giving you extra time when you need extra time. So what we're looking for in the ideal candidate is somebody who engages. We can read the resumes, and not necessarily is the 4.0, no, not at all. We hire kids, as we call them affectionately, from all over the country. And what we're looking for is someone who's hungry, someone who wants to do something, who wants to engage. I always say it's more important in life to be interested than being interesting. Sometimes people try too hard to be interesting, and just be interested. I mean, just engage, ask questions. You may know more than you think you do, and we want to see that, and we want to hear that, because what we offer is a career path. I mean, a job is a different thing, and we want our up and coming class, and half of our partners, by the way, have been promoted from within, and some of them started fresh from college, which is great, because that's the whole point, is to build a career. And when those of us on the other side of the spectrum retire, hopefully the goal is to leave it to the next generation. And again, going back to legacy and kind of walking the talk, that's one way of doing it. So that's kind of what we're looking for. It's not so much the intellectual side of the house that's important, but it's also the emotional side of the house and the contribution. What are you doing for your community? What are you doing in terms of charitable events? You can run a car wash just to help your local local charity. I mean, there's a lot of initiatives that can be led just if you put your mind to it, and those are the things we're looking for.
Yeah, you bring up a great point, because that's one of the best practices that we try to tell our students. If you don't know how to go out and build a network, organizing in a community-based event like a car wash, a food drive, that is going to draw people in, because A, it's helping the community, and it's a great way for you to meet other individuals. And so, kind of to that point, Mike, when we talk about it, one of the things that when you came out of school and we started talking about, potentially doing business together, is I was drawn to how genuine you were. When you didn't know the answer to a question, you admitted it. You go, you know what? I don't know that answer. Can you talk a little bit about how you combine kind of being genuine and not really knowing exactly what the answer is, along with, not showing a little vulnerability to kind of get people engaged? Because I think that's really important, because I immediately had more trust in what you were saying when you told me, you know what, I'm going to find out the answer for you. Can you talk about how you use that in your sales cycle?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, Nick, you made a great point. One of the most important aspects of successful people is the ability to be genuine. Successful people, someone that you're going to want to go and add as a valuable piece to your network. You think you're the only one that realizes that they're successful? You think you're the only one trying to follow up with them, trying to get on their calendar, trying to get them to help you further your goals in life? No, because it's very easy to realize who the successful people are in the room, and everybody's going to flock to them. So then they have to kind of start filtering out, who do I want to help? Do I want to help the guy who says all the right things? He's very by the book, but it's kind of robotic. It's not very. There's not much empathy in his voice. There's not much emotion being translated from him. Or do I want to help the kid who sits across the table, looks me in the eyes, and tells me with genuinity in his voice, I'm very interested in learning more about your industry or learning more about your career path. And I see a lot of myself in you. Would you be willing to help out a guy like me? So that's very important, to be genuine. Like Nick was getting into the point of, you can have 1,500, connections on LinkedIn, but how many of them can you actually pick up the phone and call? That's not a genuine relationship, and they don't know anything about how genuine you are just by being connected on LinkedIn. So I think that, controlling the controllables is the most important thing you can do. Be yourself and control the controllables. And I think that the three controllables are, we'll get back to good things come in threes. I like to get back to the 3 I's. The first is intensity. Don't be outworked by anyone. Be relentless in your reach out. We talked about persistence earlier. Have a great level of intensity. The next is intellect. Everybody spends a lot of time on Instagram these days. Do you guys think that Instagram is making you smarter? Do you think it's helping you gain more intellect? Do you think that it's sharpening your toolbox of knowledge? I'm sure that you guys will all say no, because I spend some time on Instagram too, and it's not making me much smarter. So pick up a book. You know what I mean? Schedule a 30-minute call with somebody and pick their brain. I guarantee you that 30 minutes spent, on the phone with, one of your cousins or someone that you've met through St. Rita or one of your, friends' parents or something like that. Always focus on sharpening your toolbox and put the phone down. I'm just going to keep saying that. Just put the phones down. So the third I, we have intensity, intellect, and integrity. Guys, as you get older in life, you're going to have a lot more autonomy and have to make a lot more decisions for yourself, and there's going to be a lot of temptations to take shortcuts. You got to resist those temptations as much as you can and act with great integrity. Take care of people, do things the right way. And I don't know if anybody believes in karma, but the more good energy that you give out, the more that will come back your way. So intensity, intellect, and what was the third one right here? Integrity.
There you go, listening. Very good. Are there any questions? Since we got a couple minutes here, is there anybody that has any questions? Anybody can be brave? Oh, yes, all right. You're gonna have to use my lapel mic. Hold on, excuse me, sorry, this is awkward. I guess you could just project. All right, Joe, thanks.
To the panel, thank you for being here. We've talked a lot about professional COI. We talked about JJ in your life. Nick talked about Victor in his life. I'd love to hear from the panel, in your personal life, who, whether it be a family member or a friend, was the first to plant seeds, help you grow, and harvest you to be where you are today?
It's a great question. Great question. Victor, who was your first COI personally?
Without a doubt, both my parents, no doubt about that. The difference is I realized that later in life. Because I couldn't understand all the things, and we all go through that phase where we think we're smarter than our parents and we don't. But in reality, I lost my dad 10 years ago, but I was able to tell him before he left, and my mom's still around, so they certainly were. Now, on the second, sort of the other half of my life, I would say that I had mentors along the way, for all of which, were instrumental in my development and my intellectual and emotional development. They say you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that is crucial. That is crucial at every stage in your life, when you're in high school, when you're in college, then when you start your professional life. So that's why I think it is important to know who you spend your time with, and do it with a sense of diversity. It doesn't have to be people that went to the same school. I can tell you, I've lived in 10 different countries. I've moved 12 times. I've been all over the world. And that has enriched my life experience. Because you meet all kinds of people from all over the place and try different foods, do different things. But back to your question, it's definitely my parents and then other mentors along the way to whom I'll forever be grateful.
Very good. I have a feeling everybody's going to say their parents, but we'll go down the line. Mike.
Well, I guess my first and probably greatest center of influence in life came by way of my dad. As some of you guys know, my dad used to be baseball coach, athletic director, and president at St. Rita. So me, my brother, my sister, guys, we all grew up in the halls of St. Rita. My dad started there when I was 2 years old, and he finished when I was 24 years old. So I grew up, running around, running to the gym, seeing Father Tom, seeing my dad, seeing all these people, and just building relationships with them. Running around acting crazy and talking to them for a few minutes, doing that over and over again. These became people that became invested in me, and people who wanted to afford me, a piece of their network, and, who would be a letter of recommendation for me down the road. People who I just built genuine relationships with. And, I didn't grow up thinking St. Rita was just, going to be this avenue for me to build this great network. But, just getting back to being genuine and being nice to people and putting yourself out there, it turned out to be such a powerful and more amazing network than I ever thought it could be. So even if you don't think the groups that you're in can be an amazing network someday, just keep plugging along and keep doing things the right way, and you'll be surprised who comes to help you out at the end of the day.
Great question. Very good.
So for me, I've really never thought about this question, and maybe I don't fully realize it yet. But I'd have to go with my dad as being my first ever, COI. He's been with me since day one, and he shaped me into, the man I've became. And when I kind of think of, 2 of the big things I spent a lot of my, time doing, it's 1, ABC, and then 2, my job, which is being a caddy at Beverly Country Club. He introduced me to Beverly, and he also introduced me to Nick. So I definitely would not be here, without my dad. So I absolutely have to thank him for that.
Very good.
And then for me, I would say definitely my parents, but also my two older brothers. Both of them are in college right now. I've graduated college. And whenever I need advice or whenever I'm interested in a career path, they're always open to sharing their stories and their experiences with people who are in the field, or even connecting me with people that are in that field now and having a conversation with them. So both my parents and my older brothers.
That's great. Yeah, it sounds like values-based tends to be one of the stronger foundations. So if we can give the panel a round of applause, thank you.